going on, y'all? Welcome back to Misplayed Magic, the only Magic the Gathering YouTube channel doing giveaways based on how I draft. You'll see up on the screen here, if I do horribly, if I get 0 wins, I'm giving away a collector booster pack to one of you, all the way down if I get 7 wins, I'm giving away a draft. All you have to do to claim this is like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below on how you think I did. We are going to be spinning the challenge wheel again today to give ourselves a little bit of a more difficult draft ahead and maybe give you a collector booster pack. So let's go ahead and give the wheel a spin. Alright, so today's challenge is called One of a Kind, which means we can have no duplicate cards in our deck besides basic lands. No duplicate towns, no duplicate rares, no duplicate commons. So every single card has to be a one of a kind card, and we'll go ahead and jump into it. Alright, jumping into this first pack. So if we're taking one of a kind cards, I think we're probably going to prioritize rares. And I will say Gilgamesh Master at Arms is a fun one. So it's really good if we have a bunch of different equipments. I will say sometimes having a lot of one equipment can be good. But you get to basically look at the top 6 cards of your library, put any number of equipment cards from them onto the battlefield, and then you can attach it to a samurai you control. Gilgamesh is a samurai, so a really, really fun potential top-end card for us. The Coral Sword would also be decent with that. Other considerations in the pack, the Tonberry is okay. I do think Summon Chocomog is good if we're going super wide, and then I love me some Dragoon's Wyvern, probably my favorite common in this set. That or Black Mage's Rod, which we saw a couple videos ago. But we're going to go with the Gilgamesh here. We haven't gotten to play with it on the channel yet. We're going to try it out, and hopefully we can draft a pretty sweet-looking equipment deck. Moving on into our second pick, there is a Zac Fair, which is pretty good. We can sacrifice that, give another creature indestructible until end of turn, put a counter on it, and then also put an equipment attached to Zac Fair onto that creature. So a pretty good potential pickup for us. The red card in the pack is a Haste Magic, which we'll see more of. We don't really feel the need to take that here. I think the Zac Fair is a pretty good follow-up to the Gilgamesh. I think we're going to pick it here. Other considerations, the combat tutorial is pretty good. I don't love the Shinra or the Galacat. Town Greeter's okay, but if we want to make the Gilgamesh work, I think cards like the Zac Fair are great in the red-white equipment deck. So we're going to pick that here, and we're going to try to make that work. All right, moving on to our third pick. We can take a Raban Bull of Alamigo. Whenever it attacks, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to target attacking creature. So it can be good if we're doing the equipment thing. Other considerations in the pack, Barret Wallace is okay. Chocomog is okay. I will say Thunder Magic is a premium removal spell. Very premium. But I think it's more likely that we see a Thunder Magic later, and we can only take one of every card, so I'm not going to take it here. I'm going to take the Raban. It's okay, and hopefully we'll see another Thunder Magic later, and this equipment deck might be open for us. Moving on into our next selection, we could take a Fire Crystal, although I don't love this card. I'm kind of eyeing a Zidane here, actually. If we end up going like a red-white beatdown deck, I think this is a really good top end to our curve. It's also an uncommon, so we're probably not going to see a ton of these moving forward. So I think that's the pick. It's either that or a Magitech Infantry or a Slash of Light. But if we can only play one of a card, and Magitech Infantry's best use is going getting other Magitech Infantries, it's probably not going to be very good for us. So I'm going to pick the Zidane here. Really excited to pick that at the top of our curve. Moving on into our 5th selection. So Snowvilliers is pretty good. I think if we go wide, have a bunch of creatures, this can be really, really solid. I like that a little bit more than the Mysidian Elder and the Light of Judgment here. Just a little bit expensive. So we're going to go with the Snowvilliers. I like this card decently enough. If we've got some creatures out there, it can turn into a little bit of a threat. It's got Vigilance. It can attack freely. So we're going to rock with that here. And hopefully we're reading the signs correctly. This Boros deck might be a little bit open for us. Hopping on into this next pack, very excited to see a Fate of the Suncrist here. Really great removal spell for our deck specifically. So pretty much snap picking that here. Lunatic Pandora is okay. Capital City is okay, but I don't think we want to move into any other colors right now. So we're just going to take the Fate of the Suncrist. Very excited to see that and pick that up here. Moving on into our 7th selection, I do think now we'll take an Ambrosia Whiteheart. I think we're less likely to see that moving forward. It's just a pretty solid 2-drop. It also works really nicely if we get some of the job select equipments. We can return the equipment to our hand to make another 1/1. So some synergies there as well. And like I said, I love the Magitech Infantry if we have like 3 or 4 of them. But if we have 1, it's It's not that good. So we're going to take the Ambrosia Whiteheart here and move on to this next pick. All right, so here we can take a Sabatinder, is a perfectly okay. It's a medium 2-drop. I don't think we want the Ring of Lucci here. I think it can be okay, but it's more of a slow card. I think we want to be in a little bit of a fast-paced Boros deck here. Iron Giant is okay. It's just so expensive. So I'm going to go with the Sabatinder here. I don't feel great about it, but there's not much in that pack. Up onto our 9th pick, I do think now we'll take a Coral Sword. I think this is the kind of deck it wants to be in. And look, this pack is bad besides the Coral Sword. So we'll take the Sword here. I think it can also be really good if we pull that with the Gilgamesh. We can attach it that turn, give the Gilgamesh first strike. Moving on into our 10th pick, we'll take a Galacat here. I think if we end up getting a lot of 2-drop equipments, it actually can be a decent 3/3 attacker. We're very excited here to see a Summon Chocomog. So if we're going aggressively slanted, this is the exact kind of card we want to have in our deck. And we can't do duplicates, but, I mean, we've got a lot of cheap things to do, and we can go somewhat wide. So very excited to see a Summon Chocomog there. Here, we're stoked to pick up a Slash of Light. We've got no duplicates so far, which is crazy, and a really good-looking Boros equipment deck to start here. Here we'll take a Cargo Ship. I don't think we're playing either of those cards. And also a Blitz Ball Shot. All right, moving on into our pack 2. Pick 1. We cannot take the Robon Bowl of Alamigo. I don't know that I've seen this card before, and we almost have 2 of them here, so we're not going to pick that up. Other considerations in this pack. So Freya Crescent is a pretty decent 1-drop. It can help to cast our equipment spells or equip our creatures. I do think Call the Mountain Chocobo is also really pretty strong. I think that's a little bit if we're going to like more of a mid-rangey deck. And then I also love You're Not Alone. I think doing +4/+4 is a lot for 1 mana, especially if we have a bunch of different creatures. So I'm kind of hoping that that's going to wheel to us. I think that card comes around more often than not. So it's between either the Freya Crescent or the Call the Mountain Chocobo. I'm going to take the Freya Crescent here. It is an uncommon. I think we're more likely to see a Call the Mountain Chocobo later. And again, no duplicates, so hopefully that's the right pick there. All right, hopping on into this next selection. We cannot take a Slash of Light because we've already got one. And I don't care for the Mysidian Elder in this deck, so I think our pick is actually pretty in front of us. The White Orisite's great. Really good removal spell. Will help us ramp into our Zidane and our Gilgamesh, so we're just kind of snap picking that here and just moving on to the next pack. Moving on into our 3rd selection. So we've got some options here. We cannot take a Zac Fair because we already have a Zac Fair in our deck. We could take a Summon Esperama as a pretty good removal spell, but I think this kind of wants to be in the Wizard deck. I don't know how many instants and sorceries we're really going to have in our graveyard by the time we cast that. So I'm looking at either a Relentless ATM or just a Dwarven Castle Guard as a super solid 2-drop. I kind of like the ATM in this deck as a good top-end creature. I think we're more likely to see another Dwarven Castle Guard, so that's the reason for my pick here. I think this can actually be really solid as a Boros top-end of just something that is really challenging for our opponents to block. Hopping into our 4th selection here, we've got some good picks on the table. I think we're probably just snap picking a Delivery Moogle. Going and being able to get an artifact card with mana value 2 or less is really great. I will say we don't have a lot of the job select things quite yet, so not a ton of the equipment. So hopefully we can find those in these next couple of picks, but at worst a 4 mana 3/2 is pretty solid. So we're more than happy picking that up here. Continuing through this next pack, we could take a Restoration Magic as a really good sort of combat trick and protection spell, but I think now I really want to be prioritizing cheap job select equipments. So we're going to take a White Mage's Staff over something like that. I do want a Monk's Fist eventually as well. Upper Love Song also is quite good, but I think that getting the White Mage's Staff is going to be really important for our deck, so I'm going to scoop that up here. Moving on into our 6th selection. So now, I don't know that we, well, we can't take another Slash of Light. I don't know that we want the Coeurl. I think it's okay. Hilgigas is fine. It can help us go get a land and is a 5/4 with Trample, so the potential to end games is there. But I think we'll see another one of those. I'm just going to go safe and take the land here and take the red-white tap land. Moving on into our 7th pick. So we could take a Stiltskin Moogle Merchant, which is interesting. I mean, it's a 1/2 with lifelink, which is okay. And then we could give our opponent control of like lands that we have to draw cards. So could be decent, but I think we'll just take the Summon Esperama here. I think this card can be pretty good. And if we get more instants and sorceries, it will only get better. Moving on into our 8th selection. Wow, so that is a late Ultima. Destroy all artifacts and creatures and end the turn. I always think this is hard. This is hard in Boros decks because it's like we want to be beating down. So why would we want to clear the board? So I'm actually going to take a Sandworm here as just a decent 5/4 with haste. Here, the You're Not Alone does wheel, which is huge. Very excited to see that come all the way back to us. Now we'll take a Misplayed Elder. I mean, I'm not stoked. I don't think we're going to play that, but it is a playable card if we end up not liking what we have moving forward. Hopping into our 11th pick, we do get the Castle Guard to wheel as well, so very excited to pick that up over something like a Lunatic Pandora. Here we'll take a Magitech Infantry, but like I said, only having one of those. Wow, Restoration Magic coming all the way back around is crazy. I actually think this card is pretty solid. So we're very excited to pick that up. And hopping on into our next selection, so Xeno CA Galvis is quite good, but I think we've got enough here to have a good deck, to have a really good deck. So I'm going to keep on taking, not duplicate cards, so like I'd love to take another Fate of the Suncrist, like this card a lot. We're not going to pick it here. I'm going to actually pick up a Crystal Fragments. I think this card is decent. I think it goes along with our synergies of having equipments. Having Equip 1 is also pretty nice, and then turning into a creature is not so bad either. So we're going to pick up a Crystal Fragments here over something like a splash card or an item shop keep. All right, hopping on into this next one. So we are a little bit running out of picks. We can't take the You're Not Alone. We can't take the Crystal Fragments. We're not going to be taking the Noctis Prince of Lucius just because splashing that is going to be a doozy for us. So it's either a Blazing Bomb, an Instant Ramen, or trying to splash another color. This is tricky. We have a couple of expensive spells, but not a lot. I think we'll take the Blazing Bomb just because. I would like to take another Crystal Fragment. I think that'd be kind of cool, but we'll take the Blazing Bomb here. Probably not going to make its way into our final deck. Not continuing on into our 3rd pick in this pack. I think it's probably just a Monk's Fist, just for the equipment synergies. As Summon Esperama, we've already got. Fate of the Suncrist, we've already got. And so I think that Monk's Fist is just better than Laughing Mad, so we're going to pick that up here and just try and go wide with a bunch of equipments. Now moving on into our 4th selection. So we can't take an Infantry, we can't take a Coral Sword, we can't take a White Mage's Staff. I think we actually probably just take a Grahatia. I think it's actually pretty solid in our deck. We can sacrifice some things to go and draw some cards, and trading won't feel so bad. So I'm probably just going to pick that here over something like a Lunatic Pandora. Now moving on into our 5th selection, we could take an Ultima Origin of Oblivion, but I love the battle menu. I love the modality. Typically, it will allow us to destroy something with power 4 or greater. That usually has a target, and that is pretty good, especially at instant speed. So very excited to pick up a battle menu here over something like a Hilgigas. Moving on into this next pack, we can't take much. We can't take a Restoration Magic, a Galacat, or a Blazing Bomb. I guess we'll take a Combat Tutorial, although I don't think it's going to make its way into our final deck. Hopping on into this next pack, we can't take a Moogle or a You're Not Alone or a Misplayed Elder, so we have to take a Laughing Mad, which is tough. I think having another Delivery Moogle would have been really, really strong. Now we'll take a Hilgigas. I think there's a way that makes its way into our deck. just as a decent top-end creature. I think we're playing not a super aggressive Boros deck, but kind of a more mid-rangey one. So that being able to go get some lands won't be the worst thing in the world. Here we'll take an item shop keep as a playable 2, but I don't know if we're going to be playing it today. Continuing through into our 10th selection, we'll take an instant ramen just because we can't really take anything else here. Now we'll take a capital city. I actually think there's a chance we end up playing it just because I like that you can cycle this land. So we'll actually put that into our deck for now. Here, a Lunatic Pandora is not the worst thing in the world just because we can actually go and tutor it with the Delivery Moogle. So, you know, it can be okay. Alright, so here is the deck we are rocking with today. It looks decent. And you'll notice there are no duplicate cards in the entire deck. Everything is one of a kind. Let's go ahead and jump into it, see if we can get a couple wins here. Alright, hopping into this first one, our opponent goes first. I think we keep this. I think being able to play Crystal Fragments on one and then having the modality of maybe making a White Knight will be decent. I will say getting flooded in Boros feels especially bad, so hopefully we can stop drawing some lands here. I did play 17 just because we have a lot of expensive spells, and we will continue to pass here. Depending on what they do, we might play a 2-2. Let's try it. And then I do think now we will just equip our 2-2, make it into a 3-3. And then we'll attack. Okay. And then we'll play out a Monk's Fist. Okay. Nothing spectacular early here, but our board presence is a little bit better. Precious Wanderings is certainly decent. But what's nice now is we do have the White Auracite that can, if they play a big threat next turn, we can just get rid of that and continue attacking. So hopefully that's what our opponent does here. Chocobo Racetrack is real interesting. So I think we are supposed to White Auracite that. Just so that they don't start making an army of 2-2s. And we will attack for 5. And then we've still got the Fate of the Suncrist up if they have something this turn that they want to play. And then we can also Coral Sword as well, which will feel decent. Sorceress's Schemes is interesting. So I think now we're going to start by attacking. I would assume they're going to block something, and then we can play our Coral Sword. So we can get rid of their creature without even playing our removal spell. That way we can hold up our removal spell for their turn and still do 3 points of damage here. And then we will just end our turn. We also next turn can do the Crystal Fragments thing, which is kind of fun. Precious Wanderings, again, is not great. So we're going to be able to destroy the Emperor of Palamecia. And then we'll just continue attacking on our turn. Freya Crescent is an interesting draw. So I do think we will attack first. And then we will just exile our Crystal Fragments. Just because that enters with Summoning Sickness and I wanted to get the extra point of damage in. And then hopefully this is enough to get it done. If they don't have removal for our flyer, we get there. But we have a pretty good board presence and they only have 2 cards in hand. Plus a Sorceress's Schemes. Alright, and we get there in game 1. Good, clean game of Magic for us. Alright, moving into this next game. I like this starting hand a decent amount. It's a little bit slow, but I think playing Zac Fair on 1 is going to feel decent. And then we'll just try and hold on until we can play our Auracite into our Zidane and then eventually our Gilgamesh. Grand Pulse Ochu is decently good, so I don't think we want to Slash of Light that. That feels kind of ridiculous. I think worst case we can do it on their turn and we'll just hold off on attacking. So I think we're fine with just going to our turn here. We do draw another land, which is not super ideal. But next turn it does allow us to, we'll play the White Auracite, and then we'll be able to play the Zidane, and then eventually the Gilgamesh, hopefully. I will say, too, getting the treasure off the Zidane might prove to be quite worthwhile for us to cast our Gilgamesh. And I think we're fine just continuing to hold here. So I'm actually intrigued to play out a White Mage's Staff instead here. And then we will continue to hold off, and then next turn we can play the Zidane. Prompto Argentum is interesting. We can block like this, and then try and kill their Prompto Argentum. So I think we do that. We'll see what they do here, but I'm going to attempt to sacrifice our Zac Fair and put a counter on the White Mage's Staff creature. If they have removal spell here, it's kind of a bummer. And we maybe should have just held the Slashes Light. Yeah, that's tough. But we do block both of their things, and now I do think we just play our Zidane, and then next turn we'll play our Gilgamesh. So still not the absolute end of the world here, and we will steal their Prompto Argentum. We're also at 22, so we need to not panic and realize that we've got a lot of time in this game still to... We've got some removal spells, we've got a good top end, so even getting blown out there is not going to be the end for us. Choco Comet is really good. Now we can panic. We'll take 5. I do think now we'll just play our Gilgamesh, and hopefully we can pull a Job Select Equipment here. Perfect. Monk's Fist is great. I do not want to attach it. I like having a 2-1 here as a good blocker. And I think that's the last Job Select Equipment we have, actually. We've also got a Coral Sword in here, but we didn't get a ton of equipments. Call the Mountain Chocobo is decent. So they're just making an army of birds over there. They also do have a lot of cards in hand, which is minorly concerning. But I don't think they're going to be attacking this here. Hill Gigas is interesting. So I think we play that. I'm going to attack everywhere. And then we'll probably Slash of Light the Grand Pulse Ochu. But if we can pull the Coral Sword here, we can give the Gilgamesh... Oh, Crystal Fragments is also good. I wasn't thinking about that. Yeah, let's put that on the battlefield. And... yeah, let's attach it. And so here we can Slash of Light probably the Grand Pulse Ochu is, I guess, how they're going to block. Yeah, I think we're more than fine with this. And we'll take out the Grand Pulse Ochu just to keep our Gilgamesh alive here. And then we'll take out a couple birds. We'll take out the Prompto Argentum and really clear out the board a lot for ourselves there. And then next turn we can activate the Crystal Fragments. We can cast our White Auracite. So we still got a lot of things that we can do with our mana. But they do have 5 cards in hand. So game is far from over. Clive is insane. Their Devotion to Red is only 2, so I doubt they discard their hand and draw 2 cards. But them thinking about it means maybe their hand is weaker than I gave them credit. Nope, their hand is good. So I do think that we now just exile the Clive. Glad we held that removal spell here. And then we will just attack with our 7/7. We'll take a Coral Sword and we will attach it. We'll see if they chump block. They don't. So I think now we just play out our Dwarven Castle Guard. Maybe it's just equipping the Crystal Fragments here. And making this into a 3/2. I guess we'll equip the Coral Sword too. Like, why not? And then we'll end our turn. Prompto Argentum again is decent. Torgal of Fine Hound is also okay. I will say, I don't think they have a removal spell for our Gilgamesh, which actually bodes pretty decently for us. Relentless ATM is a great draw. So I think now, interesting decision time. So I think we put the Crystal Fragments back onto the Gilgamesh, and then we'll attack with a 7/7 on this board. I think just feels a little bit better. And then I'm also going to attack with our 3/1, because why not? And this way we can still play our Relentless ATM. Yeah, I don't think we have any more equipments to get. Our opponent is going to start chumping here. And then I think us just playing on a Relentless ATM is going to prove to be a lot on this board. So we'll do that. And then I am going to attach the Crystal Fragments to our hero just so we can block the Torgal Fine Hound. But I like our spot here quite a bit. Airship Crash is good, so they get the Clive back, which is really good. So they can have that fight something that we have, and it turns into a 9/9. Uh-oh, that does not feel fantastic. I will say we will get to create the Crystal Fragments flying creature, which will feel decent. But it fighting our Relentless ATM here is not a great feeling. We can also cast it again from our graveyard, which is a consideration here. We've got the 7 or the 8 mana to do so. Interesting. I think we actually just do the Crystal Fragments, because we can then next turn equip everything onto the Crystal Fragments and actually make it a pretty good attacker. So I'm going to do that here. We are not going to be attacking. And I think they're going to be nervous to... I guess we will play our land so that we can equip everything next turn. I think they are going to be nervous to attack into us just because we're close to having lethal next turn. They also don't have trample, so like we can block with our hero if we have to. Summon Esperama is so good. So it takes out our flying creature. We might be in a tough spot here. Cloud Darkness is also really good. So our opponent has done a great job battling back here. That Airship Crash was fantastic for them. Summoner's Grimoire is so bad. I don't know why people are playing this card, but fine. So I think now, yeah, we'll just take 9, which does not feel fantastic. And then next turn, we'll just play our Relentless ATM. Delivery Moogle is also interesting. Maybe we'll do that. I think we just play the Relentless ATM here. What's tough is they're going to draw a bunch of cards with the Clive, so we're probably just dead here. I do think attacking is reasonable, though. So I'm going to go for it because we can double. If they double block, we take out their things, they're drawing less cards with the Clive. And if they're just chumping, I think that's moderately okay, too. I lied. I did horrible math there. They have exactly 8 points of damage on the board right now, and I was not thinking through that. So we're going to go down here because my math is terrible. But I will say I don't think we were winning this regardless. Okay, we weren't winning either way. Okay, so we're super dead. We go down. We're 1-1 now. All right, moving into this next one, looking for a little bit of redemption here. We'll definitely keep this. I think we'll probably just play the Freya Crescent on 1 so that the turn after we can get close to playing the Zac Fair and the White Mage's stuff. So I think we'll do that here. I also just think having a 1/1 flyer on turn 1 is pretty good. So we'll start to get in for some amount of damage here, unless they kill our thing. So now we will just play out the... I guess we'll start by attacking. And we'll just play out a White Mage's Staff. This is also why I like the Capital City. So we've got a couple lands here. I think there's a decent chance that we actually will end up cycling the Capital City. So I do like having that ability, especially in these quicker decks. Okay, Matoya is quite good. Quite good. So if they get in there, Scry and Surveil lane, we might be in for a long game here. So I'm going to play a Plains. I do think we play a... I do think we start by attacking. We'll get our life back, and maybe they won't block our 2-2. I wish we could punish them so badly right now, but we can't. And then I think we'll just play out our Zac Fair, and then we'll probably cycle our Capital City on their turn. Kieran Merchant is good. I do hope that the delivery Moogle can deliver here for us. So we're going to play out the Moogle here. I think we're fine just attacking with our 1-1, continuing to do a little bit of damage to our opponent. And then we will play out the delivery Moogle, and then I think we'll probably get the Monk's Fist. But we actually might go get the Crystal Fragments. What is better on this board? Honestly, the Monk's Fist doesn't do a ton for us. I'm going to go and get the Crystal Fragments, and that way we could play it and equip it on the delivery Moogle next turn and just try to get in for as much flying damage as we can. So our opponent is either mono blue or stuck on lands. I'd assume now they're probably going to put something on the top or bottom of our deck. Or maybe just return it to our hand. Or maybe just draw a card, discard a card. Or Sleep Magic, of course. Yes. That makes some sense here. Alright, so now we've got some options. We could return the delivery Moogle to our hand and go get another equipment. We could also just play the Snow Villiers into the Crystal Fragments, which would probably be pretty good. Or we could play the Raban, but that's not doing a ton for us here. I think I'm going to play the Crystal Fragments. I'm going to equip it to the Freya Crescent. And then I'm going to Ambrosia Whiteheart, the delivery Moogle, on their turn. Looks like they might have a bounce spell or removal spell for the Crescent here. Do we want to save it? So this is indestructible. The Whiteheart would put it back into our hand. But I kind of think us getting the delivery Moogle back is going to be a little bit stronger. So I think we're fine resolving that. It doesn't feel fantastic, but next turn we can play the Ambrosia Whiteheart, get the delivery Moogle back, and hopefully that will be decent for us. So we'll get another artifact. So we'll get back our delivery Moogle here. And then now it's interesting. Like, do we play out the Sandworm and just try and do some damage that way? Do we play the Villiers and the Raban, or do we just play a delivery Moogle? Interesting, interesting. I think it probably makes some sense for us to just play the Sandworm. And then attack with that. We'll take out their planes. It also makes us kind of see what they have. If they have to use that mana, it's going to go away when this phase of the turn ends. Fate of the Suncrist is good, so they're just continuing to hold up here, but I will say we've got a little bit of some card advantage, and our board is a little bit better as well, so hopefully we can continue to put some pressure on them. If they can do any surveilling, though, or scrying, it's gonna do wonders for their card advantage. Battle menu is interesting. So I think now we probably just play the... I think now we actually play the Villiers and the Raban. Just because our Villiers will actually be able to attack decently well next turn. And I think just putting this kind of pressure on our opponent is going to prove to be the smartest decision for us. And we will continue to not attack. Opponent's going to draw and discard here. Wow, they discard a Stuck in Summoner's Sanctum, so probably another removal spell here if I had to guess. Summon Leviathan is a great Magic card. Fantastic Magic card. So we got to figure out how we get back from this. It might just be killing that. So we'll pay 4 to do that. Yeah, let's do that. Just so they can't draw the cards. I don't want them to get too ahead of us there. And then we'll pay that. And then we'll just play out our Zac Fair and our Freya Crescent. What's nice too is we can do the Delivery Moogle thing again. So I'm going to play out their 1/4s yet again. And then I do think now we will play the Delivery Moogle. We'll go and get our Coral Sword. Could also get a Monk's Fist. I want the Coral Sword. And then we'll just play out our Snowvilliers here. I guess we should probably attack with the Crescent. And then our new plan will just be equip the flying creatures, and hopefully that's enough damage to our opponent. But they're doing a good job of just staying alive, drawing cards, and trying to stabilize here. I will say 1/4s are a good thing to throw at the problem. Cloudbound Moogle is fine. It's a 3/4, so we can still attack with ours and kill it with the Coral Sword. So I think we'll actually do this. We will Crystal Fragments. We're going to attack with everything. Because we are preventing damage that would be dealt to creatures we control. And then we can potentially Coral Sword if they block the Delivery Moogle with the Cloudbound Moogle. Yeah, so I definitely think we want a Coral Sword here on the Delivery Moogle and potentially kill their Cloudbound Moogle. So that felt very good for us. And now we've kind of got some open pathways to attack in the sky. If they have another Summon Leviathan, it's going to be hilarious. So I do think now we equip the Freya Crescent. So we're going to have lethal as it stands in the sky. And then we've also got the You're Not Alone. And we get there again. All right. We moved to 2 and 1 on the day. Opponent looks like they got stuck maybe drawing lands or just not creatures, but we get the job done there. All right, moving into this next one, I definitely think we keep this starting hand. I like it when we can play the Crystal Fragments on one, and then we'll probably play the Snowvilliers before the Gallicat, just because we only, well, I say that. Now we'll probably play the Gallicat first, because we've got both of the artifacts for the Gallicat to be able to attack as a 3/3. So really good draws there to start here. Sabbatender is decent. I do think that we're not really interested in offering a trade here, just because the Snowvilliers is at its best when we go really wide. So I don't really care to trade with their Sabbatender here. Therian is quite good. So if they have a bunch of job select equipments, this card is actually kind of insane. So I think that we are okay casting our White Auracite to get rid of that. I think it's definitely worth getting rid of here. And then we will equip the Crystal Fragments onto the Gallicat. And now I think we're fine attacking everywhere. Just opening the way for the draw we just had in the Sandworm as much as we can is actually going to be pretty good for us. So we do 4 points of damage, and then if we draw an untapped land next turn, or sorry, we can do it with the Auracite. So we just play this next turn and just apply as much pressure on opponent as we can here. Van Street Thief is not great. It is not fantastic. So I think now we just play the Sandworm as just a 5/4 with haste. We'll take out their, let's take out their dual land. Yeah, just in case they have any town synergies or payoffs, which I doubt they do, but if we take out their forest, they just go get another forest. And then we'll be attacking for 9 here. So they didn't get a swamp, which is interesting. All right, so they can kill our Gallicat here, which is pretty strong. And then they'll play a Ninja's Blades as well, which is also pretty good. They took a Plains from us. So now I think we start by attacking. We'll see if they chump block. Kind of have to. They are not going to, so now we'll just play our Snowvilliers into our White Mage's Staff. And then I'm actually going to equip the Villiers here just to try and save it from a potential removal effect that is 3 toughness or less. And hopefully this pressure is enough here. We also will eventually be able to convert the crystal fragments if we draw any untapped land. Here they have a Garland Knight of Cornelia, which is fine, albeit not incredible. So I think now we actually just transform the crystal fragments in our first main phase so that our creatures cannot be damaged this turn. And we get there again! Alright, the deck is doing its thing so far here. Moving into this next one, our opponent goes first, but I definitely think we like this curve out, going the Raban into the Villiers, into potentially a battle menu or a Relentless ATM, so more than happy with this opening hand. We will just play our tap land to start. And I will say drawing lands is not going to be the worst thing in the world because we eventually do want to be able to play our Relentless ATM. Now I do think we will play the Raban. They're going to cycle a T-Rexar, which is good, loading up their graveyard and going and getting another forest. X-Death is quite good. So we don't have a great way of dealing with that here, so we'll just play out the Snowvilliers and pass. And right now they've got only 1 permanent in their graveyard. Looks like they've got a Chocobo Kick to take out our Snowvilliers, and then they're going to attack us for 3, I would assume. Town Greeter is great for transforming the X-Death. Let's see how many permanents they have now. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4 out of 6, which is quite good. Quite good. I don't think we're going to block here. Now, I will say we're probably okay stopping drawing lands at this point. We will attack just because we're not going to be blocking with the Raban. We don't have any equipments to attach. And then eventually we'll play our battle menu. I don't think we want to use it just because the X-Death will kind of become a annoying thing for us to deal with. Cloud of Darkness is pretty dang good. So you can get something -4, -4. I don't think that's worth saving. I don't. So we're going to let it die. And our opponent's got a really, really good graveyard, black-green looking deck here. We'll continue to take some points of damage from the X-Death. And then hopefully we can draw some sort of action to help us out here. We don't. We draw another land, which is not great. So we're going to have to be a little bit in the back seat here. Potentially we could make a 2/2. Potentially we could gain some life. I think we're somewhat okay trading with the Town Greeter here. If they want to spend resources, that's fine. I mean, it's not great. So now they've got 5 creatures, 5 permanents in the graveyard. We'll take 6. Gubu Gardener is decent. I mean, I don't think a 2/2 is doing much for us here. So I'm going to continue to pass. And then we'll just play out our Relentless ATM. It is a decent enough blocker. We'll attack with the Crescent just because we're not blocking with it next turn. If they kill it, that's fine. Sure. Chocobo Racetrack is pretty solid. Still going to make some 2/2s. I'll say our opponent, they've got a good, really, really good curve out here. And they're just going to continue attacking with their 3/3 with flying. So that's tricky. I mean, we can't attack. I think we might have to play the battle menu as us just gaining some life, because I don't know how we're going to deal with their flying creature here. Okay, so greens is decent enough. Yeah, I mean, we probably go down here. We fought hard. So I do think now we play the Ambrosia Whiteheart. We will not return something to our hand. We will block like this and see what effects they have. So do we keep our Ambrosia Whiteheart alive? Probably. Feels so bad, but it's probably correct. And then we'll just gain some life. Does not feel great. Does not feel great, but we are staying alive here. And, oh, they have another X-Death? Okay, well, that is rude. Okay, yeah, we just lose here. So we've got, yeah, we're super dead. Okay, so we go down there. Unfortunately, our opponent had a good deck, good curve out. They played lands and spells effectively, and we go down there, unfortunately. They had duplicate cards in their deck, which we do not have. We have one-of-a-kinds only. All right, moving on into this next one. We go first. I definitely think we keep this. We can go Zach Fair into the Ambrosia Whiteheart. If we draw a mountain, it's awesome. If not, we can use the Hill Gigas to go and get one. So definitely like the start that we can have here. We draw another Plains, which is not fantastic. I'm going to end the turn. I'm going to see what they do. We might play the Whiteheart out just as a 3/2 attacking next turn, which I think we're going to do. If they counter it here, I'm a big dummy. Yep. So maybe we should have just played it on our main phase to play around that. But now we will just attack and then go and get a mountain with our Hill Gigas here. Albed Salvagers is pretty good. Pretty good. We draw a Crystal Fragments, which is interesting. I do think now we probably just play the Robon and the Salvagers. Sorry, and the Crystal Fragments, and then we can equip to the Robon here, and we are not attacking. And then next turn, if we draw an untap land, we can play the Sandworm. We still got the battle menu up as well, so we've got some options. Ahriman is good. So now we can play the Sandworm, which would probably just get killed by the Ahriman. I do think we play it. I think we kind of have to just kind of thin out their board a little bit. We'll take out their island. I guess maybe if they have a third color, that was a bad idea. We just help them fix their mana. So maybe we should have taken out one of ours. They just have a swamp, though. So here, it's like, do we attack here and here? Yeah. Yeah, we do. I do not want to do that. This way they can block the Ahriman, can block something, but then they're still taking some good damage here. And we assumed that they would take out the Sandworm. I thought about waiting a turn, drawing a land, and then being able to sacrifice the Zach Fair so they couldn't block the Sandworm effectively. But I think that this is fine for us here. Heck Dies is quite good, so we lose our battle menu. That's a bummer. That is a real bummer. So we draw another Plains. Eventually we'll be able to transform our crystal fragments here. I think now we'll just attack with the Raubam. And we'll see how they block. Oh, I hate this! So if they double block, if we play the exact fair, we can just get totally blown out. Ah, let's do it. What the heck? They probably have a removal spell here. Or they don't. Okay. Okay. So that wasn't so bad. But they have 4 cards. We have 0. Yeah. And we lose. If this does damage to us next turn, we lose. But it won't, because we have a Dwarven Castle Guard and a Dream. Alright. Dwarven Castle Guard, you're going to have to really, you're going to have to stay alive here for us. You're going to have to take a bullet right to the chest from the Primal Odin. Hopefully they can't remove it. But if we lose to a Primal Odin, we lose to a Primal Odin. Like, whatever. Uh-oh. I'm afraid. They get to draw so many cards. 2 mana removal spell, 2 mana bounce spell. Really, a bounce spell gets it done more than a removal spell. Sage's Nolitz is fine. Slash of Light is interesting. But it's just not going to be enough to get rid of the Primal Odin. They're going to get to draw 2 cards. We'll lose 2 life. And then they've got 7 cards in their graveyard. So they're going to be able to turn this into a flying 4/4 with crew 1, which is not great for us. I think we're supposed to attack. Block here's fine. And we'll just equip again. And then keep up our Slash of Light. What's tough is that they just have really good card advantage now. So even if we transform this, they probably have a way to deal with it. Summon Shiva is great. Good card. Yep. So our hero will be stunned. Scorpion Sentinel is also pretty solid. So probably just too much card advantage for us here. They also are making a flying 4/4. I'm not sure why they're crewing it here. What in the world was that? Okay, so we draw another mountain. So I think we're supposed to transform this. So let's do that. It'll just get tapped down, which is a little bit of a bummer. But eventually we can try and trade with the Magic card. But we're just taking a bunch here. So we're going to tap this down. We're going to take at least 8, maybe 12. Combat Tutorial is great. So I can probably draw a cheap creature here. Yeah. Well, they don't draw a cheap creature, but they do 10 points of damage to us, which is quite strong. Our Slash of Light is also just so bad here. Delivery Moogle is interesting. So I think we play that. And we'll go and we will get a... I think it's actually probably a Coral Sword. So that we can try and block their Magic card. And then we will not be attacking. But next turn we can play the Coral Sword. And then we can Slash of Light for 4. Stuck in Summoner's Sanctum is great. So we're not technically dead yet. Although we are pretty dead as it currently stands. They'll draw 2 cards here. And yeah, I will say, our deck was okay. We ran into a lot of just like better decks today. Some of which had duplicate cards. This one actually, we haven't seen any. So here I'm going to Coral Sword the hero. And then we're going to attempt to Slash of Light the Magic card. Okay. Alright. We're not dead yet. Okay, Edgar King of Figaro is so good. So they just have a million cards, and we have a Snow Villiers. Yeah, I mean, we can technically stay live, but we are super duper dead here. Jill is so good. What is this deck? We've run into some very good decks today. Summon, Primal, Odin, Jill, and Edgar are all great. Oh, man. We tried. But we go down here. Unfortunately, you know, another 3-3 performance. It's not what we were looking for. Not what we were looking for at all. But sometimes that's the way it goes. And we go down. I will say, when we curved out, our deck felt great, but it was, because you can't take duplicates, it's filled with a lot of cards that are mediocre. There are a lot of C's in there. So this is the final deck today. It was okay. It was not anything spectacular. I didn't really think we got a good curve out really all that often. We never got to do the Choco-Mog thing with a bunch of our creatures, but 3-3 is not the end of the world either. So if you are still watching and you'd like to claim today's giveaway, because I got 3 wins, I'm giving away a pack of Final Fantasy to one of you. All you have to do is like this video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below on how you think I did. Thank you all so much for watching. Until next time.